Hello. So today, this is the second video I've created today. So for anyone wondering why I'm wearing the same thing, what is that? Who knows? Um, I am going to talk a little bit about the difference between urgency and desperation. Urgency and desperation, urgency and desperation. Because I feel like a lot of the times we really confuse the two, and we kind of get it wrong. We think that we have to make sudden, intense moves to get what we want or who we want, when that ends up doing the opposite, you know. Yeah. So for me, I'll try to ground this in something, because I know it sounds very abstract, and it can be, but for me, this idea stemmed from a lot of real life scenarios in my life. So, for example, in almost all the things that I'm involved in my life, I feel like, I'm thankful for where I am, but I'm not completely satisfied with where I am. I want to take it to the next level. I want to do better. I want to earn more money in it. I want to influence more people. I want to be better at it, whatever. And that mentality, having that idea that, like, I'm not where I want to be, can go two ways. And I would consider those two paths very starkly different and guided by two very drastically different things. One, which I've been guilty of often in my life before, is being guided by fear. And that produces desperation. So, for example, let's take one thing that I'm interested in that I haven't been able to really do, like, in a serious way in my life, that I've been kind of moderately interested in. It's kind of come in and out in my life, is modeling. A lot of times, like, because I'm out for different things. I'm a poet, performance poet. People see me and on stage and stuff. People always tell me, like, you should model. Are you a model? Blah, blah, blah. I am technically currently signed with a very boutique modeling agency, and I've done, like, very small, like, modeling gigs for them. Like, commercial modeling. Nothing like high fashion, which has been pretty cool. But I've always had this, like, especially every time someone tells me, like, you could be making this much money, or why don't you do this and this and this, like, it makes me feel like, oh God, like, am I wasting my time? Oh my gosh, like, I wasted so much time. I'm gonna be too old to model, and, like, I could have made all this money and I didn't, and I could have paid off my loans and I didn't, and blah 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 blah. And I take desperate moves. Like, 3 years ago now, I remember I had this moment where a lot of people were telling me this, and I just started Google searching, like, different casting calls for modeling agencies and all these different things, and I ended up going to, like, these random sketchy things and places that were wasting my time and trying to get money from me, like, a lot of money from me, like, thinking that, that this is what I need to do to become a model. I didn't do much research about the industry or anything, and to be honest, I wasn't really passionate about it. I kind of wanted to do it because I thought it could make money. It'd be like something cool, like, I could do, like, high fashion. I love creativity, like, walk a runway, that'd be awesome. But I wasn't really, like, have a deep-seated, like, passion for it, that, like, it just made me want to, like, do squats every day and that kind of thing. And I know what deep passion feels like because I've had it in other aspects of my life. So I remember I just didn't have that, which is why I never really took it seriously until every one time someone told me, you could be doing this, making this much money, and, whatever. I felt, I was on, like, desperate mode. I was like, okay, gotta go to a casting call, gotta do this, gotta submit my photos to this and this and this, gotta spend $300 that I didn't even have at the time on this photo shoot and do this and that and blah, blah, blah. These were desperate moves. They were guided by fear. They were guided by the fear that I was going to get too old to be able to enter the industry, because a lot of high fashion models are like less than 20 years old, and I'm into my 20s now, let's just say. And that, if I wait another year, I'm going to have all these wrinkles, I'm going to gain weight, that if I want to do it, I should do it now. I needed to do it. I needed, no matter what the circumstance, I needed to get with an agency or anyone that would sign me, any agent that would take me in, any gigs that I could get, any whatever. Like I said, desperate moves. Desperation is not good. And the other thing is, I was at these events and I was surrounded by people. By events, I mean casting calls and some of these places where, one, a lot of the people that I met had very desperate energy about them. They were pouring thousands and thousands into trying to get signed by an agent and these clothes, and taking days off of work and having their parents drive them places, and starving themselves. And because a lot of people want to do this, a lot of people want to be models, even though, I don't know, a lot of people want to do this. A lot of girls want to be models. So I was around people who had desperate energy, and I could feel it, and it didn't make me feel good. I felt like this isn't me, it's constricting. And related to that point is, that there was no substance for me. I'm someone who's very, guided by, depth, and, I love, I'm a poet, I'm a writer, I'm a critical thinker, I love philosophy, I love intellectual thought, and modeling can be very flat and one-dimensional, and for me, I felt like I couldn't relate to a lot of the people at these places, both, the other models or the agents or people. It's not that I was against, doing creative photo shoots and stuff. I love that stuff, and I've done a lot of that stuff for my poetry. I think vanity has its own place, and I love doing that stuff. I really enjoy it. But I was looking to the wrong industry, I guess. I was looking to the wrong place to get whatever it was, validation, money, I don't know. But something that wasn't sustainable. And, it just didn't end up well, because I was just emanating desperate energy. And I think, I'm a big believer in energy. I'm not undermining the roles of, action and all that, but I don't know. I think I'm a pretty intuitive person. I know when I'm feeling desperate about something and how the world responds or reacts, versus when I'm coming from a place of genuine love. And yeah, that's the other side of the coin I'll get to in a second. So yeah, in hindsight, I'm glad I went through that whole thing, because I realized, the modeling world can't make me, I went through bouts where I thought, oh, maybe if I had a modeling platform, I would be able to have more followers of my poetry, because people obviously care about they want to look at modeling photos more than they do want to look at words on a screen. So I had all these thoughts, and maybe it's true. Maybe that would happen. But then as I was thinking, I was like, well, does that speak to the truth of who I am and the message that I want to send? That you know, you have to be a model to really succeed as a poet. Nah, that's not the message I want to send. And it also doesn't show that I'm pretty confident about my poetry, and I don't want to compromise the integrity of my art by just linking it with something for the sake of exposure. You know, your integrity, your worth, your brand, as they will, is you should not compromise that. Because that's what builds. That's the only thing you really have. Like, people will come and go, jobs will come and go, agencies will come and go, entire industries will come and go. Modeling may look completely different in the next 10 years. It's already looking very different with the rise of social media models, and it's looking very, very, very different now. And my point is, you just don't want to get hung up on something that will end up biting you in the butt, because when you're taking a desperate move, like, it doesn't end when you arrive at the place you want it to be. That energy kind of still lingers, and you know. And then, so I was saying the difference between desperation and urgency, the two paths. If Because I don't believe in just a completely spiritual approach, or like where you should just sit back and let the universe do its thing and everything will fall into place. I'm not really a believer in that. So that's where I see the value of the concept of urgency coming in. Urgency is really important. So, with, let's just still take modeling, for example, and poetry. When I realized, like, what is it that I had an urgency about, right? Like, I had an urgency that I wanted to make money. I had an urgency that I wanted to get myself out there and make myself known, but through my writing, not through my body, which will turn wrinkly in a few years, My urgency is my craft. And why don't I, instead of splitting my energies and time between two worlds, just kind of devote myself completely to what I'm actually really passionate about? Because the return on spending all your time on your passion is so much greater than the return on spending half your time on something that you're not even passionate about. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? I don't know if you are, but I'm still gonna continue. And right now, as I see it, like when I have these one-off, modeling assignments, and it's become something that, from afar, people think it's like so awesome and glamorous and whatever. It's cool, it pays decent, and it's not bad, but it's really not exciting. Like, I don't find any joy or any fun in doing these shoots, really. They're just kind of vapid and dull for me. Unless I was doing a shoot for Beyonce, maybe I'll feel differently, or something, for Ivy Park, her clothing brand. But when I'm doing like poetry related things, when I'm sharing my craft, when I'm performing, I feel this adrenaline. Like, I feel this, like, completely in alignment with myself. I feel like 110% myself, not just mostly myself. I feel like this is it. This is who I am completely. Like, I am here as an artist. I'm here as someone who shares their craft, and it's been amazing because I've actually attached some of my interest in modeling, like the part of modeling that I was interested in, like the artistic part, the creative part, to my poetry. And I've done a lot of videos where I'm kind of modeling or like, doing different visual effects and stuff for my poetry or my words or my spoken word pieces. I'm doing different photo shoots where I try to capture an emotion and like attach that photo with a poem. And I can't say in tangible terms like where that's gotten me to. I don't have like $1 billion, but I feel like cumulatively I feel like I'm growing into more of who I am, and I'm growing more into myself. I'm attracting more of the types of people that I want to be around. And I don't think and sorry, to make sure. Sorry. I'm saying sorry as if you're a person sitting in front of me, but you kind of are, and I'm being rude with my phone. So I don't know. For me, I'm just realizing the importance of all these things, and maybe there will be a day that I can have my own modeling agency, or like be modeling for other brands because of the name I've made for myself as a poet, with the urgency that I've had to put my poetry out in the world, not the fear that I've had that I should be a model so that I can pursue my poetry more seriously, which just on a gut level, even though I couldn't articulate it, even though I still can't fully articulate it now, doesn't feel like me. It doesn't feel like it should have my name on it, like my stamp, my signature. Who knows about my ramblings? Um, so, I don't know what that was for. I just acted out. I'm a weirdo. If you haven't figured that out already. So I think part of what's related to what path you decide to take is confidence. When I started to become more confident in who I was in my work, my poetry, I started having less of freakouts of like, oh my gosh, let this capitalist system, this, use me and then discard me. No. Because other thing about poetry is it's like something you can't force. Like maybe my poetry will only get to the point where it's gonna be something huge after I've gone through a lot of life experiences, like that have really put some different wisdom in me. That's all for today. So yeah, urgency, I'm all about it. Be urgent, work on your craft every day or as much as you can. Produce work, try to get better. Meet people you can learn from. Be consistent. All those things. That's urgency. And that's motivated by love, like the love for what you do, the love of yourself. Desperation, on the other hand, will leave you empty, will leave you feeling like questioning if this is really who you are. It will result in meeting people who see you, first of all, as acting in a desperate manner, and then secondly, doing doing things that your heart really isn't maybe in, you know? Just for the sake of getting somewhere else. So yeah, that's my thoughts on desperation versus urgency, and I hope you got something out of it. And I'm gonna go take like a mini nap before I get on with my day. Alright, thanks. Have a great day. Bye.